Frank Sinatra was singing about being young at heart. Marlon Brando was yelling for Stella. The #1 TV show was Lassie. She was rescuing Timmy out of the well. The New York Giants, with Willie Mays as the National League MVP, beat the Cleveland Indians for the World Series after Willie Mays was making the famous over-the-shoulder catch. The year was 1954. Happy hobby, I'm David Gonson. If you're a sports car collector and you're working with a limited budget and you want to try and make the microphone centered, then that's what we do here on this channel. We talk about sports cars. We don't have a lot of money, but we have a lot of fun. We have a good time doing it, so that's why you should subscribe to this channel. There's over 4,000 people that have subscribed to YouTube, my YouTube channel. Be one of those guys. Be one of those people that also enjoy the hobby with us without investing your mortgage payment. So today we are talking about the 10 best, most valuable cards from the Topps Baseball 1954 Topps Baseball set. Now you've seen I've done a few different videos on this series from different years. Now we're trying to go from up through the 50s. We're at 1954 right now. Topps, absolutely beautiful set. First, their first two sets were pretty amazing. You got to give it to them. Those first two, 52 and 53, pretty good. They're pretty great. They're great. 1954, nearly as awesome, if not better in some cases, because of the rookie card class in this set. Pretty amazing. We're going to talk about those in a second. But one thing we want to mention, that this set does not have Mickey Mantle. No Mickey Mantle in this set. He had signed an exclusive deal with Bowman for 1954 and 1955, so we wouldn't see him for a couple more years. However, someone we had coming back to the set, actually he was never with Topps to begin with, Ted Williams, Teddy Ballgame. He joins this checklist, so he actually gets 2 cards in the set. So that's pretty awesome. Topps makes up for it a little bit. They're not rookie cards, but neither was the Mickey Mantle one, right? So, you know, big deal. But we do get some great rookie cards. Now, what's interesting about 1954 set is they did have people coming back from the Korean conflict, which ended in 1954. So you had like Ernie Banks and Willie Mays and Ted Williams. These guys coming back after not playing for an entire season in most parts, or maybe partial seasons, and now they came back to play in 1954. So Topps made sure they got cards in this set. Now, what's interesting about the design of the 1954 Topps set is that the borders on the set, there's 3 white borders, and it looks like everything's off center because that top border doesn't have the white on there. So it looks like it's off center to the top. That's not the case. Don't freak out. Don't go crazy. What that means is when they made this set, the way they designed this set was pretty interesting, pretty smart actually by Topps. Now, if you look at the different cards in this set, a lot of them have a different background color. There's green, there's orange, there's yellow, there's a light blue, there's white. So there's a lot of different red, a lot of different colors for the backgrounds. So what Topps did was they took the cards that had the same background. One was flipped upside down and the other was flipped right side up, and that's how they were on the card sheets. So they would be back to back on these card sheets, and then they'd just be cut right through that color. Makes sense, right? That's not bad. That's pretty good, actually. That's pretty smart, outside of the fact that everybody thinks they're all off-centered, but still, that's actually pretty cool. And the reason I like it, too, is because it makes the set very colorful. All these nice-looking background colors really makes the set pop. Each of these different rookie cards and each of the different cards that we go through, the ones that have certain colors, man, they just... Now, of course, when we talk about the values of these cards, we're talking about PSA 5 values. So PSA, and we're talking about PSA 5 specifically for this set. So we're matching the decade, basically, and we're using recent values of sold cards on eBay on 130point.com. If you haven't used 130point.com, you should check it out. And also, all the images that we use here are from buysportscards.com. It's a great website. buysportscards.com does a really good job, so they let us use their imagery, so we thank them for that. All right, let's get into this. Now, number one, the best rookie card in the set. The best card overall. Henry Aaron, Milwaukee Braves rookie card. That is an iconic picture right there. It's an iconic card. There's 4 players that sit atop my Topps vintage Mount Rushmore, so to speak. Obviously, Mickey Mantle's on there. Willie Mays is on there. Roberto Clemente is on there. And Hank Aaron. I'll actually make an argument that these two will probably switch, but I wanted to be suspenseful for when I say Hank Aaron. So Henry Aaron, those 4 guys. Now you can make cases. Obviously, Jackie Robinson is very collectible. Ted Williams is very collectible. There's a lot of great players, but for Topps vintage, these guys had Mickey Mantle's second-year card, Willie Mays' second-year card, but these guys had most of their cards in the time span when Topps had started producing cards in 1952. So this card, this Hank Aaron card, it's tough to find in good condition because of centering, and there are some print defects on that orange colored background, but it is a nice looking card. All right, so number 2 on the list, we're still sticking with the rookies. That's how good this rookie class was. Ernie Banks, Mr. Cub. Look at it. With that white background, that's such a good-looking card. Now, I want to mention something about Ernie Banks because I'm going to be starting to collect him. Actually, I already started collecting him for my own personal collection. I chose him as the one vintage guy that I want to go back and get every base card and a bunch of reprints and a bunch of inserts and stuff like that. I want to get all these Ernie Banks cards because I really did enjoy him and learning about him throughout my card collecting career. But did you know that Mr. Ernie Banks never played one game in the minor leagues? Now, he was in the Army and he did play in the Negro League, so it wasn't like he was just some kid out of the blue. The guy did have some experience. He was a little older at this point. Now, he did win the NL Rookie of the Year in 1954, but he did go on to win 2 MVP awards in 1958 and 1959. So he's got that going for him. Oh, yeah, by the way, he hit 512 home runs. He's in the 500 homer club. We love him. Mr. Cub. Hey, let's play 2. As a matter of fact, that Let's Play 2 comment was actually first printed in a story about him in the Chicago Daily News in 1969. I would have thought it was earlier that this was a thing, but in 1969, it called him Banks, Major's Happiest Warrior. Banks, Major's Happiest Warrior. I like that. That's a pretty cool headline. Before we go too much further, I want to mention, stay to the end of this video because I'm going to share some fun Ted Williams trivia with you. I think you're going to enjoy, because Ted Williams, spoiler alert, he's in this set. So make sure you stick around for that at the end. All right, number 3, not a rookie, but he's a superstar. He's one of my Topps vintage Mount Rushmore guys. Willie Mays. No mantle, but there is Mays. And Mays was still just 23 years old at this point. This is the first year that he made the National League All-Star team. Just 23 years old. He'd go on to make the NL All-Star Club from every season on until he retired when he was 42 years old in 1973. That's the other thing about this set. As we get into number 4 here, Al Kaline for the Detroit Tigers, his rookie card in this set. And that's gorgeous with that red background. Man, that suit that just really pops with the Detroit hat and the logo. Now, Al Kaline, that's what I was going to say, is Al Kaline, Ernie Banks, Henry Aaron. These guys had careers that spanned 3 different decades. That's amazing. So for those rookie cards to be all in this one set, that's pretty impressive. We talked about Mr. Cub. Well, now we're talking about Mr. Tiger. And just what a great look at the face on this guy. Perfect red background. He's 18 years old. Now, he had joined the Tigers fresh out of high school. He ended up having a 22-year career. It's pretty good. And he's finished as a member of the 3,000 hit club. He's 1 home run shy of 400 home runs. So he hit 399, which is, that's kind of special in itself, I think. That's pretty cool. One thing I thought I'd point out, because I never really, it for some reason never dawned on me, but Al Kaline, if you put together, it's the word alkaline, like batteries. How did I never put that together before? Sometimes I'm just not very smart. Number 5, we move on to Jackie Robinson, one of my all-time favorite players and obviously cards to want to collect whenever they come out with like vintage reprints of stuff. I love getting a Jackie Robinson card. That's awesome. Now, obviously, he dealt with many injustices in his career in the majors after being the first player to break the color barrier in 1947. But decades later, his card collectors still are angry that we only have 5 cards from Topps, 5 base cards of Jackie Robinson from Topps. That's pretty sad. We're not happy about that. He ended up retiring after that 1956 season. All right, now we move on to Teddy Ballgame, the Splendid Splinter. As I mentioned, he is in this set. And just like we mentioned with Jackie Robinson, Ted Williams only had 5 years, 5 base cards with Topps in that span from 1954 through 1958 because of contractual obligations with other companies. With whether it was Bowman or Fleer, he ended up signing with different companies. And it's sad that Topps didn't even come around. Topps didn't even start making baseball cards until 13 years into Ted Williams' career, which is pretty crazy. But he did at least have some cards with Topps, unlike Joe DiMaggio, who we mentioned earlier, who retired in 1951, literally 1 year away from when Topps started creating these baseball card sets. And the number 7 most valuable card out of this set, Ted Williams again. This is going to be the yellow background one. Now, what I want to point out to you is that they made these 2 cards. Gave Ted Williams 2 cards, basically because they lost Mickey Mantle, is what my feeling is. They lost Mickey Mantle, so they had to somehow, get some more star power in here. So they finally got to use Ted Williams on their cards. So they ended up making 2 of them, an orange one, yellow one. That's cool. Who cares? What's interesting is they put the orange one as the number 1 card, the first card in the set, and they put the yellow one, number 250, as the back card in the set, which is it's a little dangerous because that means the condition of those cards is a little tricky because people put rubber bands. If they put their cards in order, which a lot of kids did, they would put rubber bands around them, and that would affect the face of the number 1 card and the back of that back number 250 card. So that's interesting to know. One thing I want to know is, which card do you like better? Now, it doesn't have to be because this one's more valuable. They're pretty close in value. So which of these 2 cards is the one that pops to you? Which one do you like better? Now we move on to number 8. Now there's a nice size drop off from the first 7 cards in this series, or in this video, as far as value, to the 8th card. Now it's Yogi Berra, of course, a catcher. He's going to be among the not as collectible as the other guys, but whatever. It's Yogi Berra. He's pretty great. Now he's 29 years old in 1954. This was right in the midst of his prime, really. Middle of his Hall of Fame career. He won his 2nd of 3 MVP awards in this season. And actually, he was the MVP or the MVP runner-up in 5 of 6 seasons from 1951 to 1956. That's pretty crazy when you think about that. MVP or runner-up in 5 of those 6 seasons. Number 9, we're going back to another rookie card. Tom Lasorda. You know him as Tommy Lasorda, the Hall of Fame manager for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, he did pitch for the Dodgers. He pitched 3 years in the majors, including 2 years with the Brooklyn Dodgers. He never won a ball game in 26 major league appearances, 6 starts, and he would go on to win 1,599 games as a major league manager. He won 2 World Series and 2 Manager of the Year awards between 1976 and 1996. So that's pretty good there, Tommy. Pretty good, Tommy boy. Now, there's another little-known fact about Tommy Lasorda. Now, Lasorda was actually drafted by the Philadelphia Phillies, and while he ended up getting with the Dodgers and he joined the majors with the Dodgers, he eventually was sold to the Kansas City Athletics. And once he was there with the Athletics, they traded him to the New York Yankees, where he pitched in the minor leagues for those pinstripers, the Bronx Bombers. He was pitching for those guys. Can you imagine Tommy Lasorda, a Yankee? What's this world coming to? Number 10, we're going back to Eddie Mathews. We mentioned him a couple sets ago in the 1952 Topps set. He was the best rookie card in that set. It was a big deal in that set because he was a Hall of Famer, and that he was a rookie card in that set. Well, now this is his 3rd year in the majors, 3rd baseball card, and he became the second best player on his own team now that Henry Aaron has joined those Braves. So Eddie Mathews is still pretty awesome. It doesn't take anything away from him, but he's no longer the face of the franchise once Henry Aaron starts slugging. All right, so some other great cards you want to consider from the 1954 top set: Duke Snider, Monty Irvin, Gil Hodges with the Dodgers, Whitey Ford, Phil Rizzuto, Richie Ashburn for the Philadelphia Phillies. Now, you look at those prices for PSA 5s. Those aren't bad at all. Those are very affordable, graded vintage cards from 70 years ago. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty cool. Okay, so we talked about Ted Williams. Ted Williams trivia time. Let's talk about the splendid Splinter. He won 6 batting titles in his career. We already know this. He was outdone by only 6 players. He actually barely missed winning 2 more batting titles. So let's talk about those 2 titles. In 1949, Williams finished the season batting .3427. .3427. George Kell hit .3429. 2 thousandths of a percentage, or 2 thousandths of a point higher than Ted Williams. And that's what gave George Kell the AL batting title that year, which is just amazing. Then in 1954, Teddy Ballgame hit .345, which was the highest in the AL, but he only had 386 at-bats that year, 14 short of the league minimum to qualify for the American League batting title. What's weird is Williams led the league. He led the majors with 136 walks, which actually worked against him because those walks took away from his at-bats, basically, and he couldn't qualify for the batting title. So as far as batting average goes, it didn't really help him. However, in 1957, I think probably because of this, the MLB would change the minimum. Instead of at-bats, they change it to plate appearances. And why can't we just retroactively go back and give him that title? Wouldn't that make sense? Give him number 7 already. Anyways, that's what I got. Those are my 10 most valuable, bestest, greatest cards of the 1954 Topps baseball set. I want to know what your favorites were. Which of the 2 Ted Williams do you like the most? Which ones do you want to get? Which ones of the other cards to consider would you like to get? I want to know in the comments. Whatever you do, have a happy